This is a check. A one. This is a check. 1, 2. 1, 2. We're live. Welcome, everybody. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. La la. Hare Hare. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hey, welcome everybody. Morris Conti reporting. Oops, I'm trapped in my guitar. I'm trapped. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the program. Wow, do you ever think you would live to see the day? An amazing day in American history, right? An amazing thing has happened, an amazing shift. You can almost thank corrupt elections for this. Politicians who say things that are specific to what people want, right? In America, isn't that what elections are supposed to be? The politicians pick what the people want and such. And Donald Trump has done it again. Donald Trump has moved to the left of the Democrats on the issue of legalized marijuana. Now, nowhere on the record is Kamala Harris really on the record saying that she would move to legalize marijuana on a federal level or on any state level or anything, really. She's not really there. But the point is that Trump is now becoming, he put it out on Truth Social. He's pro legalization in the state of Florida, where he lives and where he will be voting as a Floridian citizen. And so if elected, that should certainly carry over. Trump put out a piece on Truth Social that we'll look at, and you'll see that he says basically he's going along with the will of the people. 70%, upwards of 70% of the people in America think that decriminalization, legalization of marijuana is in order, right up there with alcohol. Now, of course, you could argue there's many scientific and unscientific and backyard, back alley kind of explanations and comparisons between alcohol and marijuana. And the argument is always, which one is more dangerous? And I don't know. I don't know anybody who ever, really smoked weed and blacked out and went on to kill 10 people in a road rage, or just wake up in a cell and not know how you killed your mother and your wife and your 4 kids, right? That happens with alcohol all the time. It also happens with blackout drugs like fentanyl and Percocet and Valium and every other kind of opiate that the pharmaceutical industry produces. But this flower has long been under attack. In America, 100 years ago, it was widely used and accepted. Medicinal values, medicine values that were found by Indians and certainly the Agore in India and all over the world, where people have used this plant to enlighten themselves, right? And where is the danger? I fail to see the danger. It's addictive. So we'll look at the American political perspective on marijuana and cannabis, cannabis, whatever you want to call it, and we'll look at the controversies now surrounding it. But the outstanding thing today is that Donald Trump, a Republican, is out-lefting the Democrats on the issue of legalized marijuana. Starting in Florida, where he didn't get much of a... Look, 70% of the people in Florida are for legalization. So the people are about to speak. In Florida, there will be an election, and there will be... This is coming. In Florida, legalized marijuana will be in effect right after the election. If the polling is right, and Trump is certainly reading the polls. But for some reason, DeSantis down here in Florida is not for it. So I think the Democrats are going to, I think the Republicans are now going to start flipping in mass, right? Because of the polling, right? People want legal weed. They're finding that it works, right? You're not talking about legal crack. You're not talking about legal heroin, or, you're not talking about legal fentanyl. You're talking about cannabis, which is equivalent to, you could make the equivalent of recreational alcohol. But we'll look at the scheduling as well, how the government schedules these substances. That it really doesn't make sense. They've got marijuana as a Schedule 1, the most dangerous, and down the list somewhere is Valium. You're telling me weed is more addictive than Valium, or Percocet, or Percodan, or codeine, or any of those things? I think you'd have to have your medical head examined to believe any of that. So so thank you all. People talking, Born Vicarious talking. Thank you everybody for joining me. By the way. Weevil Girl in the house, our trusted wrench is here. Jason Houlet. What's up, Jason? Champs, Born Vicarious. Great, has great input on this channel. Thank you. Reading your quotes, you're starting your own channel. Don't be afraid to drop the link here. Tell people where you are. I have no problem with that. Quinn Smith says, free the weed. Yeah, free the weed. Right? And everybody else is here. Thank you all for... Weevil Girl says weed is still illegal in the great state of Wisconsin. It's also illegal in Pennsylvania. Let's see now. Let's see. Trump is touting the horn here for legal weed in Florida. We'll see if it could happen. So here's my thumbnail today. There is Trump. We live to see the day. Now that marijuana is readily available in this country through recreational or medicinal value, fucking get your medical card, whatever, however you get it, right? It's safe now, and it's relatively. I know people say, "Oh, the marijuana that they have today is laced. It's laced with something." I don't know about that. I think the flower is tweaked to grow a certain way, a certain strength. Marijuana essentially is a plant, and you grow it. And the way to make it stronger is not to spray it, but to cross it with stronger plants. That I believe is the way they do it. Now, as far as the synthesizing of it into vape or pills or gummy bears or whatever, I have no opinion of that. I think that is that's right up there with processed food. You can eat an apple, or you can eat refined sugar, and if you want to call those the same, well, that's on you. But flour is flour, and refined oil from the plant is it's not the same, right? It's not the same. And there's a lot of I believe a lot of shenanigans that go on in that process of refining, right? Pharmaceuticals are going to try to make it more addictive, but we're talking about the flower itself, not the spin. Jason Hooley says 160 pounds an ounce in UK. I tell you, Pennsylvania is down to like about $100 an ounce, $100 an ounce in the medical dispensaries. That's a good deal, right? You get eight different eighths for $100, right? It's becoming affordable for people, and it probably should be covered under Medicaid. Why not? Fucking why not? So I got a website, and whether you like it or not, whether you like marijuana or not, the other controversy is the smell. We'll talk about that. How many people, raise your hand if you're offended by the smell of marijuana out in the street? I'm not. I when I smell it, I say, oh, people are getting lit or enjoying themselves. Happiness when I smell it, as opposed to cigarettes, where I say, oh, people are so fucking ignorant, they're killing themselves. You walk out, you want to go to I go to bars sometimes to play at the open mics. I don't really particularly like alcohol. I'll drink a little beer here and there, but that smell when you walk into a bar and you get pounded with the smell of cigarettes when you walk in, it's fucking horrible. When I was a kid, it used to be smoking in bars. So you would walk into a bar and you would come out smelling like a cigarette, even if you didn't smoke. The whole room was covered with smoke. So we've evolved from that, and certainly no one's advocating smoking weed indoors where other lungs are working, people that don't want to smell it or breathe it. But this notion of contact high is really ridiculous. If you smell a cigarette, that's not a contact high. It's prolonged, fucking breathing it in. Like being stuck on a plane with someone smoking next to you for 5 hours or something like that. Those rules have changed. So we'll talk about this fascinating breakthrough in American democracy, right? Americans are getting some rights, it looks like, if Trump wins, right? So Trump wins. But amazing. Trump is pushing the Democrats left on marijuana. Fucking what a life, right? Good morning. This is the morning report. Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, right here in the great United States of America. You can watch the reruns across all of these platforms: Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social, and wherever else you watch your great social media. We're coming up on our big date. Get your white privilege out of here. Coming up November, we're going to have a hearing on the racial attack that this reporter received back in 2020 at the Brooklyn Hospital Center when he was told to get his white privilege out of the hospital by a big ass black security guard. I'm talking about racism in America. So we're gonna make some precedents here at the New York State Division of Human Rights and find this cracker guilty. There's already probable cause for the Brooklyn Hospital Center being a racist establishment and supporting the racist. Guy's name is Joshua Wright, the security guard. Get your white privilege out of here. And so we're going to make some precedents there, unless the hospital buckles in the last hours of the leading up to the hearing. We're going to have precedents. Marcus Conte versus the Brooklyn Hospital Center in the case of white privilege. Looks like we're going to win. I think we already won. We're just trying to run out the clock. So here's the post. All right, this is the post making all the noise. Trump is now on the record, Truth Social. He put this out on August 31st. I'm a little late to the party. I don't know how I missed this, but a few days ago, Trump said on Truth Social, Donald J. Trump, the real Trump, as everyone knows, I was and will be again the most respected law and order president in U.S. history. Okay. We will take our streets back by being tough and smart on violent and other types of crime. In Florida, like so many other states that have already given their approval, personal amounts of marijuana will be legalized for adults with Amendment 3, whether people like it or not. This will happen through the approval of the voters. Correct. So it should be done correctly. I love what Trump says. Right? Whether you like it, whether I like it, whether the guy next door likes it or not, it's happening through the approval of the voters, because the polls show 70% of the public in Florida and nationally approve of this. So people are speaking. We need state legislature to responsibly create laws that prohibit the use of it in public spaces, so we do not have to smell marijuana everywhere we go, like we do in many of the Democratic-run cities. Right there, I would disagree with Trump. Fuck you if you don't like the smell of something, right? Just walk the other way. What are you going to do? I don't like the smell. I think coffee is way more disastrous to someone's health than weed, for example. So what are you going to do? What are we going to do? Have legislation that says Starbucks can't pump the smell of their coffee out into the street so people can smell it? And that's why they do it, right? Or bakeries. Sure, I can't stand that smell of bakery. I'm fucking obese, and I smell those cookies, and I want to eat them and die. Right? That's stupid. Right? Relax. It's just the smell. Right? Go like this. Walk away. You don't have to. Right? What's the difference between smelling? As I say, what's the difference between smelling fresh cookies at a bakery, or Starbucks coffee, or someone standing on the road or outside of a bar smoking a joint and smoking, passing weed or something? Right? There's no difference. It's just a weed. It's just a smell. Okay, so I disagree with that. At the same time, someone should not be a criminal in Florida. Bravo. When this is legal in so many other states. We do not need to ruin lives and waste taxpayer dollars arresting adults with personal amounts on them. And no one should grieve a loved one because they died from fentanyl-laced marijuana. I don't know of any stories or any truth that people die from fentanyl-laced marijuana. But here's what I will say. Why do you have to go to the worst kind of neighborhoods and the worst kind of people and buy something that is relatively harmless and should be legal in the stores? See, that in itself takes the crime out of it, right? Will somebody spray a certain marijuana plant with something to make it different and stronger? Yeah, that's the nature of drug dealing, right? But if you do it in a dispensary, or have it organic, fucking farmers, people that grow corn and grow tomatoes in their yard, growing weed and selling it, you're not going to have any of those problems. So that's two down. I don't see the justification that people die from laced marijuana. No one dies. I don't know of any mortalities from smoking too much marijuana. If there are studies like that, I'd love to see them. There's hundreds of studies or just walk down to the local detox hospital and you'll see people dying from alcohol. That's cirrhosis of the liver. It fucking rots your liver if you drink too much over and over again. It'll kill you. Alcohol or Valium. People fucking crash and die, and they take 2 Valiums, they fall down the stairs and land on their head. Right? They come to the hospital all bloody. They don't know how they got there. Right? Because you took your medication and you fell on your face. So that's Trump's rant. Let's look at the polls quickly. And so Trump just leaving it up to the states. Not all states voted for it, says Weevil Girl. Truth, yes. But although Obama in 1986 was, and I'm going to play the clip of it, was really, really for decriminalization of marijuana, he wasn't able to get it passed because of what he claims was the problems in Congress and such. He couldn't get it. Barack Obama claims in 2000, in his latter years, that he couldn't get it done because of Congress and Senate. Now, I don't know if that's to be true or not, but he certainly said it. And now that most states have legal marijuana, it should be rather easy for Trump to push it through. all he has to do is talk about it, and it'll get done, right? He'll get enough support, and right? It'll get done. It'll be funny if the Democrats turn around and say, no, marijuana is so dangerous. Look, Trump is pushing drugs on Americans. Just say no, kids. Just say no. That's what the Democrats are going to do next. They're going to say, oh, marijuana, it's so bad. It's bad for you. And Trump, he's the monster. He wants to get your kids strung out on pot. That's what they'll do next. Right? They're already saying that Kamala Harris is already saying Trump is a flip-flop. Trump flip-flopped because he now sees the light and sees what most Americans see, which is it shouldn't be so bad. Man. So here's the latest polls. If you want to believe it, CNN is chirping in. CNN poll, the fake, disastrous CNN that no one really believes, says Trump is up by 5 in Arizona and down by 1. Harris up by 1 in Nevada, margin of error. And CNN has Pennsylvania in a fucking tie. Wow. Holy smokes to the people like me who are in Pennsylvania right now. Tie ball game. Michigan, CNN has Harris by 5. I don't believe that. Wisconsin, Harris by 6. I don't believe that either. Georgia, Harris by 1. So these are CNN polls, not really to be considered too deeply, knowing that 90% of the country doesn't trust CNN because they're not trustworthy. They've proven that. On Tuesday, they have Trump up by 1 in North Carolina, 1 in Michigan, down by Harris up 21 in Maryland. That doesn't count. North Carolina, there's a Stein there. I don't think we're talking about Jill Stein. I think we're talking about some other Stein. So the latest polls, CNN just put out a shitload of polls, painting the tape. That's often what this is called. This is called painting the tape. Yeah. We call all the the lefty liberals in the Democratic strangleholds and ask them who they're voting for and why they hate Trump. Right? And we call that a poll. CNN is not. This is not a trustworthy organization doing these polls, right? They take money from one side, and you really think that they're going to do an honest poll and report? Hell fucking no. That's not what they do. That's not their business model. Right? So let's talk about weed.
This is a ganja making ready.
Yeah? And why do Agoris make ganja?
Ganja make us ready.
Ganja means anand.
It means what?
Happiness.
Happiness?
Ganja means anand, happiness. That's what this is the Agore from India. These are meditation masters, guys that sit around and connect with God all day long.
Yes. Taji aa jati, taji. Chai piya.
Hi.
Hi,
For God.
So the purpose of Agora is to be happy?
Happy.
That's the number one?
Making now meditation only.
Okay.
Thinking God.
Thinking God.
Praising God.
Praying God and
आपके भी country Russia वाले.
realize to
Yes.
whether.
Boom, boom. There you go. Throw him in jail. He's a criminal.
मैं इधर ही था गुरुजी चाय पी गया
All right, so there's the Agore in India, right? There's a deep, rich culture of people who smoke weed as part of a religious practice, a practice of meditation, a practice of mindfulness, spiritual connection, right? And they do other things too, like pray on dead bodies. Not pray on killing people, but pray over the dead, as if to say, we will be here as well. And so nobody's killing each other in India. In fact, the Agore call it happiness. But look at this. Drunk, easy jet passenger, drunk, EasyJet passenger forces emergency landing at 30,000 feet, claiming captain was rubbish. All right, so you tell me where someone loses their mind smoking weed. First of all, right, if you want to eliminate this problem, why do you have open bars on international flights? I just recently experienced it. You go, flew to Japan, and the bar was open with really good stuff: champagne, sake, fucking Sapporo beer, the Japanese beer, Taiwan beer. Flying over the ocean, we're all those feet high. But as you can see, some people, alcohol turns them into the devil. Right? After a few drinks, they're punching their fucking spouse, right? And they're kicking their dog or something, or they're screaming, right? That's what alcohol does to people, right? An alleged drunk plane passenger caused chaos midair and terrorized others. Point of the story is that here is fucking crazy dude is losing his mind on a flight. All right, so where is the reference to marijuana or fentanyl or where is cocaine causing the problem on a flight? It's not. It's the fucking alcohol that you're serving people, right? You're serving people this thing that makes people crazy in mid-flight, but it's safe. It's safe. 30,000 feet in the air, and there's 200 people on a plane, and this guy's losing his fucking mind while the pilot is trying to drive the plane. Talk about unsafe. So there's evidence, plenty of evidence that alcohol is fucked up. These are the schedules. This is our wonderful drug enforcement agencies in America, and these are the people that tell you what is safe and what isn't. The law enforcement people will tell you, right? So Schedule 1 is this, right? This is marijuana is on this list, right? Drugs, chemicals with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, right? They include heroin, LSD, pot, marijuana, ecstasy, methaqualone, I don't know what that is, and peyote. Right, so most of the hallucinogenics are labeled Schedule 1, with the exception of heroin is on that list as well. Right? Now, heroin, highly refined garbage. It's an opium, it's refined from opium. LSD is made in a laboratory. It's fake. It's a man-made garbage. Right? Peyote is not a bad substance at all, and certainly marijuana is not a bad substance. Peyote grows as it grows, right? Grows as a mushroom. Right? So those are the worst types of drugs in the world. There's no mention at all of anything that Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson puts out, which is far worse, right? The fucking liver pills and the heart pills and the fucking million, the ones that are here in Schedule 2. Dexatrine, Adderall, Ritalin, Demerol. So you're telling me that marijuana is scheduled Vicodin, cocaine. This is Schedule 2, by the way. Right? Chemicals defined as drugs with high potential for abuse, potentially leading to severe psychological and physical dependency. This is total. How do you make these determinations, right? So a lot of pharmacology has some of their drugs on that Schedule 2 list, but that's not going to stop them from giving it to you. Right? You could still distribute it and give it to people. Schedule 3 is Tylenol with codeine, ketamine, steroids, testosterone. Right, that's where they want to stick marijuana. They want potential for physical dependency. This is fascinating right here. Look at it. Schedule 4, defined as drugs with a low potential for abuse and low risk of dependency. Xanax, fucking Valium, Ambien. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me that these are potential for abuse with, and no fucking evidence that any of this is going to improve the life of somebody. Right? And Schedule 5, I guess, is defined as drugs with low potential for abuse. Limited, what do we got here? Lomotil, Motofen, Robitussin, that's a cough medicine, codeine. So you could see the point I'm trying to make here is that these schedules do not make sense. Even if you take marijuana, where's alcohol? Where can someone point to alcohol on the list of scheduled drugs? Alcohol, look, alcohol. Let's read Schedule 1. Alcohol is a drug with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Now, doesn't that categorize what alcohol is? Highly addictive. If you drink too much and stop drinking, you'll shake and die, right? Literally, you'll shake to death and die from delirium tremor. No other, I don't know, marijuana doesn't do that. It'll make you a little hungry. But anyway, or peyote. But alcohol's not even on the list. People are fucking almost crashing in planes over alcohol, driving their cars into people. So this makes no sense. The shift from Schedule 1 down to Schedule 3 still makes it somewhat illegal on a federal level. So these laws got to go. They got to go. These laws don't make sense in connection to what we're actually talking about. Let's listen to some of the spin. Here we go. Spin it.
Push to legalize marijuana. Former President Donald Trump says he's going to vote yes on Amendment 3, which would make it legal in Florida. Good evening. I'm Annette Gutierrez. Action News Jack Shanila Kabir spent the day getting reaction from people around Jax. She joins us live from the South Bank. And Shanila, this topic has stirred some controversy.
Say something.
Annette, this has the former president on the side of Democrats, like Mayor Donna Deegan, and against Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. And just about everyone I spoke to, whether they agree or not, say they were just stunned by Trump's decision.
Stunned? Who was stunned by Trump's decision? Who, Fatso?
Presidential candidate Donald Trump appended the marijuana debate in Florida just hours ago, posting in part, quote, "We do not need to ruin people's lives and waste taxpayer dollars arresting adults with personal amounts of it on them." It sounds like
they're not really for it.
Talking about Amendment 3 to legalize recreational marijuana for those 21 and older in Florida. It will be on your ballot in November, and that post was cause for celebration at a local CBD.
There you go. So that's a good report right there. November in Florida, it's official. In Florida, they will be voting on recreational marijuana.
Wellness store, where they're happy the former president spoke up.
So it's good because we could go ahead and give relief to people that suffer from anxiety and stress and can't afford access to
medical marijuana. These are medical marijuana facilities. How can you say that there is no currently accepted medical use when there's dispensaries all over the country doing it? How do you explain that?
To medical care, but I fear because it's going to be too pushed for getting it to the consumer.
This guy's just a drug addict trying to get your kids to smoke weed, man. Look at him. He's the devil. He's got a hole in his ear from the earring and his long hair, and I don't trust this guy. He's trying to sell my kids weed.
Advertise and not learning about the principles of marijuana.
What
are the principles?
And is mixed elsewhere. People I talked to at Friendship Fountain were torn. Many of them said they support legalization, but are worried it can come with increased crime.
Increased crime. Where? Where is this is another fallacy that marijuana brings with it increased crime. There's no research, there's no evidence to suggest any of that.
It's going to be more money, more income for the state and local government. So again, as long as you're of age and it's taxed, it's regulated.
Right.
Absolutely.
If people are not being responsible, there might be more DUIs, there might be more...
There might be, young lady, there might be, but statistics show that legalization of marijuana does not increase the incidences of accidents on the road. It might increase the incidences of DUI because you're screening for it. All right, so you're going to get a higher spike. But is it actually, for someone who smokes weed in the morning and then at 5 p.m. is driving their car home, right? That person is not endangering anyone, right? Alcohol is like, you drink a drink and an hour later you can drive. It's the same thing with anything, any substance. I mean, with the exception of, long acting stuff like methadone, something very, long lasting, long shelf life, like 2 days, you're still high, you still feel it.
Situations that will cause danger to the greater amount of people who might not be for the legalization.
All right, so there is no evidence of things becoming more bumpy legally when you do this. So that's fake. That's a false belief. Say something, you. Say it.
And Election Day is just a few weeks away. The newest poll here from UNF shows there is a stronger support for the legalization of recreational marijuana. Here it says out of a set of 774 people, around 64% of them voted yes, and about 31 voted no. 64 to 31 was some synthetic vote in Florida. 61 to 31. I think that's what you said. 60-40, right? 60-30. That is a huge rip for legalized marijuana. Now, famously, we have had people say at the top of government that marijuana should be legal. So let's hear this guy. You remember this famous guy? Not
Another
this
big
guy,
issue in this country right now has to do with the legalization of marijuana. You gave an interview to the New Yorker's David Remnick, and you said you thought smoking pot was a bad habit, but you didn't think it was any worse for a person than drinking. Now that contradicts the official Obama administration policy, both on the website of the Office of National Drug Control policy, and also the fact that marijuana is considered a Schedule I narcotic along with heroin and ecstasy. Now, do you think you were maybe talking just a little too casually about it with Remnick and the New Yorker, or are you considering not making marijuana a Schedule I narcotic?
Well, first of all, what is and isn't a Schedule I narcotic is a job for Congress.
I think it's the DEA that decides that.
It's not something by ourselves that we start changing.
All right. So Jake Tapper's pushing him, saying that it's something that is up to Congress as opposed to or the DEA. I don't know what the law is there, but can a sitting president remove marijuana from this list of drugs? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. It seems like the simple answer is yes, but then upon further investigation, it doesn't seem like there's a reason why they don't do it, or can't do it.
No, there are laws undergirding those determinations.
Would you support that move?
But the broader point, I stand by my belief, based I think on the scientific evidence, that marijuana for casual users, individual users, is subject to abuse just like alcohol is.
Bingo. It's subject to abuse just like anything else, right? I would much rather have a kid smoke weed once in a while and be, athletic and eating the right foods than pounding down fucking chocolate cake all day long and sitting there playing arcade games.
And should be treated as a public health problem and challenge. But as I said in the interview, my concern is when you end up having very heavy criminal penalties for individual users that have been applied unevenly and in some cases with a racial disparity. I think that is a problem. Over the long term, what I believe is if we can deal with some of the criminal penalty issues, then we can really tackle what is a problem not just for marijuana, but also alcohol, also cigarettes, also...
Right. Boy, what about cigarettes? We didn't see nicotine on that list. One of the most abused, fucking disastrous, no medical... Find me a medical fucking function for tobacco. A medical reason to and what... Find me a less addictive substance than something more addictive than tobacco. A horrible drug. Horrible tobacco. No fucking medical significance at all, at least as far as I can see. Maybe smoking once a year as a ritual, something that you grew or something that is organically grown somewhere and has a spiritual fucking value to it. But daily smoking of cigarettes is detrimental, deadly to your health. Right? Your lungs can't handle that. Constant smoke. Cannot handle it.
Harder drugs. And that is try to make sure that our kids don't get into these habits in the first place. And the incarceration model that we've taken, particularly around marijuana, does not seem to have produced the kinds of results that we've set.
Bingo. The incarceration does not produce the result that we're looking for. Obama, being truthful, speaking from the heart. All right, this is 10 years ago.
But I do offer a cautionary note, and I said this in the interview. Those who think legalization is a panacea, I think they have to ask themselves some tough questions too. Because if we start having a situation where big corporations with a lot of resources and distribution and marketing arms are suddenly going out there peddling marijuana, then the levels of abuse that may take place are going to be higher.
Yeah. So there's Barack Obama on the fucking record saying it. And what do you know? Harris campaign criticizes Trump for brazen flip-flop. They're trying to make it into a flip-flop issue rather than dealing with the facts, right? Of marijuana. Days after Vice President Kamala Harris took questions on her changing views on policy, her campaign sent out a memo criticizing Donald Trump on his brazen flip-flops, including on marijuana reform, accusing the former president of just making things up ahead of the election. Well, let's see some evidence of Trump downplaying marijuana. I know Trump is a non-drinker, a non-smoker. He's probably a non-drug taker, 100%. That's just the way he is. But you see in his statement, he's like, well, if people want to do that, then, let them. Right? Look, and again, as a disclaimer, this is no advocation for driving while under the influence of anything. If you get behind the wheel of a car and you're driving it, right, with the keys in the hole, and you're driving the car, operating the 2,000-pound vehicle, and you're intoxicated, you should be you're a criminal. That's where you become a criminal, right? Drink one beer on the beach and jump in the ocean, you're not a criminal. Smoke a little weed and play baseball, you're not a fucking criminal, right? Smoke weed and get behind the vehicle and drive to your kid's baseball game. Now you are a criminal. That's where I draw the line. But nonetheless, Kamala Harris is criticizing Trump for brazen flip-flop. Trump's record on marijuana has varied. While in office, department announced it would remove an Obama-era policy that limited federal prosecutions for some sales of marijuana where it is legal, only for Trump to walk that back months later. Right? So Trump didn't really, for whatever reason, Trump was not able to get it done, and or didn't have the will to get it done because it's not something he's personally interested in or has a personal understanding. But here's what Trump knows, is that whether in Florida, like so many other, whether people like it or not, this will happen through the approval of the voters. That's what Trump said. Whether you like it or not, this will happen through the approval of the voters. And that's pretty much what we should be, thinking about. One more opinion before Sagar and Crystal Ball.
This is not, let me be very clear, Amendment 3 is not decriminalization. It is straight up commercial legalization of pot. And
it's decriminalized commercialism. What are you talking about? You don't even, you're mixing up the terms. It is legalization. It's legal. You can walk into the store and buy it, and there's no crime having possessed it. That's called legal. Now, you can go further and say, well, what about growing? Right? That's the key right there. When you can grow it yourself, now we're in the home stretch.
In the same way that you see in Denver and everywhere else, which will lead to the massive proliferation of weed stores literally everywhere, the putrid smell of marijuana. You can say whatever you want about, oh, well, we need to prohibit public space. It's not going to happen because the commercial incentive is way too strong. My friend Charles Lehman wrote a great Wall Street Journal op-ed just this morning about the problems with widespread legalization with no curbs on commercialization. Excuse me.
Take a hit.
With no curbs on commercialization or on the increased percentage of THC in products, no regulation.
This guy should smoke a little bit and quiet his mind down. He's got a very busy mind. You look at him, his mind is racing. He can't slow it down.
Literally whatsoever. And by the time people even try and get around to doing that, a lot of the damage is already done. In terms of traffic fatalities, rising addiction, problems with children, schizophrenic breaks, and increased amounts of crime. So
very, 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 very bad reporting, Cigar. I liked you breaking points. Now I don't like you anymore. I think you're wrong. Higher rates of crime. The crime is from, again, having Flacco handling the fucking weed. Flacco down at the bodega, right, mixing the marijuana with fentanyl with baseball cards, right, to make it stronger and make kids come back and buy more, right? That's what you're trying to take out of the equation, right? That's the crime is because it's illegal, dummy.
That's all I would say on the subject, but Trump clearly has, quote, gone woke on the issue.
He's so happy.
Why follow popular trends on weed, but on abortion we're like, oh no, well we gotta
Well,
all right, so weed, so to Cigar, weed and abortion are the same, right? The termination of a pregnancy, the termination of a human life, because the carrier says, "I don't want this baby," is the equivalent of happiness, of ganja. They're not even in the same category.
You know the answer to that because the abortion people are very powerful.
Well, maybe I should become powerful. We all need to rise up.
Maybe you should smoke some weed and shut the hell up.
Maybe we should, Sagar.
Yeah,
I
mean, weed, being against weed, especially against the commercialization of weed, is probably a way more popular position than being straight up pro-life, the way some of these IVF religious Catholics are.
It is a shame. I mean, it is a shame that the marijuana industry is subject to this ridiculous criminalization, because all you have to do is declare it legal in the federal government, and all of the the state laws would, I guess, roll over, and then you can get down to the real weed, right? Real seeds that grow from the ground, right? I'm sure everybody knows this, anybody who has a garden in their yard, have you ever found a tomato in the supermarket that tastes better than the one you grow in your yard? No. Or a cucumber or corn, right? If it's locally grown, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the crap that comes out of a supermarket, the GMO garbage, right? Those are not even tomatoes anymore, right? As opposed to the one you grow in your yard. So the same principle applies when you're talking about marijuana, or what I grow sometimes is tobacco. It's legal in Pennsylvania to grow tobacco, and I have a few plants. They grow wild. I don't even put the seeds down. They come up again. And you get some. I don't like it. I don't like tobacco. But I grew it a few years ago. But it's different than a cigarette. It's not sprayed with some sort of synthetic. You know exactly what's in it, and it's almost always a better quality than the commercial brand.
So I have the polling on it. It depends on your definition of where these things lie, I guess, in terms of the popularity of the position. But overall support for marijuana legalization is 70%.
The overall legalization is in the United States is 70%. 7 out of 10 people want this. But why? Why is the government still saying no? How do you make the case? How do you look out into the populace as a politician and say, I know 7 out of 10 of you want this, but I'm going to say no. Right? That's not your job. Your job is to say 7 out of 10 people want this. Let's go.
Democrats, it's 87%. Independents is 70%. Republicans, it's 55%. So even among Republicans, it's a majority at this point. So, you know, he's reading the polls. I guess I would just say with all of this stuff, it just, I don't know. You tell me if you feel this way too. It all just feels really sort of flailing and desperate. Like the pander is a little too obvious, you know? I mean, it feels especially...
It's not pandering. It's not pandering. Get off of your liberal fucking white horse. Trump is not pandering. He's looking at the polls saying 70% of the people want this. I'm the president of the United States. I want to give the people what they want. That's all Trump is doing.
Especially on the abortion thing, like all over the place. You can tell he's looking at the polls. He's like, I got a problem. What can I do? He's spinning his wheels. He's trying to throw different.
All right. So let's look at the markets. Ding, ding. We're open. Trump's stock is down. Fuck you, man. 16.79 a share. Red day. Nasdaq down 82. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Wait a minute. Let me refresh. Those are the futures. Let's see. Let's get it open. All right, we're open. Nasdaq is up 76. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 87. And S&P 500 down a mere one point. So everything looks green except for Trump stock, which is down 20 cents. Tesla up 9. Nvidia up $1.50, Google up $1.50, Apple up 2.5, Amazon up 4, Meta up 3.5, Microsoft up a little bit. How's Bitcoin? Haven't talked about it. $239 up to 56,700. It was 70,000, so it's still below the high. And since we're talking about drugs today, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna. Trekking along, Johnson & Johnson down a point. The other two are up about 1/4 of a point. And Pfizer, $28 a share. Moderna, $72. Moderna, during the height of the pandemic, right? You talk about legalized drug. Right? During the height of the pandemic, when Pfizer was pushing that garbage pushing the holy vaccine on people. Excuse me. I got garbage and vaccine mixed up. My apologies, AI. $449 a share was Pfizer at the height of the pandemic, 2021. $449. Now it's $72. Right? That is a fraction of what it was. Right? So evidence, if you're looking for evidence of making money, profiting from drugs, look no further than the stock market. I just showed it to you. Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer. So that's all I got today. Thank you all for joining me. It is a special time. I can close my eyes and remember age 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, where marijuana was viewed as something very, very bad. Many of us sold joints in high school. We were pot sellers because there was nowhere else to get it. Somehow we found it. Someone found us to sell it, and it was easy to buy in mass. And now it's even, I guess, even easier. Again, I would like to see. I think Trump is correct in moving in the direction of decriminalization at a federal level. Take it off the books. And stop already, right? And I think we're getting closer to it in this age. I would like to see. I think the final step is when government completely gets out of the way and says we no longer have an opinion of the substance as a drug. It's more like, sugar or caffeine. I always wonder, we call caffeine a drug, but we don't call Starbucks a drug dealer, right? We know that high fructose fucking containing foods like Twinkies and Oreos and fucking cupcakes and ice cream are loaded with these types of sugars that have the effect of a drug. but we don't call them drugs. We don't call the people who sell ice cream drug dealers. But for some reason, people who grow their own flower in their own backyard would be considered, the guns they'd come into your fucking house with guns drawn, right? So again, we are living we are living and seeing some of this nonsense break down. Thank you everybody for joining me. We're way out of time, and today is Thursday. I'll see you guys on Monday. Marcus Conte reporting.